I'll do the intro. Don't even trip.
That's what's up. Go ahead.
I don't know what we're gonna talk about. You know who this is. Pretty sure you know who I am. It is what it is. Um,
We're gonna bleep out.
I'm sorry. My bad. All right.
Making their daughters look older than they should be looking.
There you go.
Fast.
Not cool. Not cool. Especially with the hormones and all the foods and everything, and girls are developing faster anyway, and then you want to show off everything and then wonder why things happen. And I'm not saying, not trying to blame the victim like that, but the victim has to take some type of responsibility.
Right. But we want to minimize how we attract something because we know that it's out there. So why would we spend, and it's a little girl. It's not like it's an adult. So why are you dressing her beyond her years and making her attracted to someone that shouldn't be looking at her? If you're dressing her like you, then obviously that will attract the attention of someone that would be attracted to you, not someone that would be attracted or looking at her like, oh, she's cute. That's a cute little girl. No, now they're looking at her like a grown woman, and you're wondering why. So if you had a little girl, would you dress her like some of the stuff? What's the worst that you've seen like somebody wearing in public?
A kid?
Mm-hmm. Not at the beach, like just your everyday.
I don't know, probably some booty shorts or something.
Those shorts they make now, they look like
ridiculous.
I can't even believe that they're making them, first of all. And then aside from that, I cannot believe that that's his cat. Mm-hmm. I can't believe that. Why would you even put your kid? Listen, I wouldn't even wear half the stuff that I see these people are wearing because like all your business is hanging out and you're at the regular supermarket. You're not even at the beach or on a tropical vacation. These shorts, they don't even have a leg. That's it. They don't even have a leg on it. So if you were to fold them, you could literally put about 172 pair in one drawer.
That shit's crazy.
I don't think it makes sense because we know that, unfortunately, this world is out of control with people that are crazy, number one, because that doesn't give you the right to put your hands on anybody. But we know that there are people in the world that are not mentally stable and they do things that they shouldn't do and they're already attracted to a kid, period. And then you're like showcasing them.
Yeah.
You're like enticing that part of their brain. So in their mind, and I've seen it on different like documentaries and stuff, you're like giving them the best of both worlds. You're showcasing them. And I don't understand why. Your job is to protect your kid, and instead, you're dressing them up like an adult. I don't understand.
That's ridiculous. Like, they're just sexualizing kids. Like, back in the day when they had the little dancing baby and on the commercials, dancing in the diaper. And, like, I am a big fan of Joe Rogan.
Who's that?
Shout out to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan he's a UFC commentator.
Oh, okay.
He used to do Fear Factor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe Rogan. He's a stand-up comic, everything. Joe Rogan, I love his podcast. He's a very intelligent dude. And he was talking about I think it was in one of his stand-up sets. He was talking about this commercial back in the day, and it had this little baby. He was like maybe 1 or 2, and the baby was like on the red carpet, had a nice car, and he had all these grown women, and like he was the man. Mm-hmm. He was like, what if that was a girl in that commercial? Mm-hmm. Will we be looking at it the same way? It'd be disgusting, right?
There's a lot of double standards that are going around.
But it's still a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get people attracted to kids. It's ridiculous.
I've seen, and you guys, excuse me for eating with my mouth full. I haven't really ate today. I'm hungry.
The only way you can eat is with your mouth full.
I can't. So, we were talking about how there are double standards in that there was an example given of, you know, if a girl comes to you and says, somebody touched me inappropriately, immediately you believe it and all of that stuff. But if a guy does it, then you kind of look at him crazy and you're like, really, that happened? And you ask that boy or that guy for way more details, almost like to prove it. Like, what exactly happened? Like, could that be that? Well, the fact that they're saying it from the beginning, it is. Just it is. And a lot of, I've seen women too talking about my little man, and you dressing him looking like a full grown man and treating him like a little man instead of treating him like a little boy. And then you wondering why he's possibly growing up thinking the same things, like he's never really getting to be a kid. Why can't kids just be kids? We look at them like kids, their behavior should be like kids, and we just identify them as kids instead of trying to make them what they're not. Let them live in their space instead of putting them out to the world and then wondering why people don't receive them the way that they should, because they don't act that way. So you treat them a different kind of way because that's what their appearance is, their behavior is, and all of those things. And I know that, of course, the logical mind is, it doesn't matter, that's a kid. Of course it does. So then you're responsible as an adult for your behavior and how you treat them. But again, it still goes back to, why even have that gray area out there?
Mm-hmm. If it's a kid, it's a kid. You know, I treat them like a kid. Without going into too much detail, let's say I was at a wedding a while back. This was a long time ago. And somebody had their kid there, and their kid was acting like he was super grown and joking around. And it was funny for a few minutes, but the dude, you know, he continued with the behavior the entire night. And to the point where, you know, I'm like, it's not funny. This dude is a kid. You know, you guys need to say something to him.
Mm-hmm.
And things escalated, and they ended up having to pull this kid out the wedding because he was about to wig out on somebody. Like, because everybody was just encouraging that behavior. Oh, it's so cool, it's so cute. He's acting like he's grown. He's acting like he's a mob boss, and this is a little boy, and he's going too far with it. This is a kid. You guys need to treat him like a kid. You know, it's not cute. It's not cool. Treat him like a kid.
Isn't it funny how it's cute until it's not? With some of these parents, your kid is, for example, with that, you know, they're joking and playing around with adults and all of that. But if the adult responds in a way that you feel is inappropriate, then the adult is wrong, so to speak. Or if the adult corrects him and doesn't like it, then it's a problem. No accountability is held to that parent or that child. So where does that come in? Because I'm the same as you, you know, I'm really old school with certain things, because I know what the message is behind it, and I don't want to give any ammunition to a lot of things. But when little girls take pictures doing duck lips with their hands on their hips, why are you doing that? You're a kid. Why are you trying to be sexy? We do that as adults. I do that when I'm trying to be sexy. Kim Kardashian does it when she's trying to be sexy. That came from a sexy place. So why would you want your child to do it? Mm-hmm. Or your child is, you know, it's funny when they are in the room with adults and they acting like kids, you know, going back and forth with adults and talking grown. But then it's not funny when they hit the close to teen years and you're wondering why they're embarrassing you. Well, you allow them to do it. That's their behavior. That's what they understand. And in their head, because what you parents need to realize and everybody else needs to realize that condones it, is that it's still a child. The same way that you telling us when we don't like it, or somebody that doesn't respond appropriately, and you want to remind them, well, that's still a child, you should still see it that way. Well, you should still see it that way when you're trying to now reason with the child that you have raised this way, and now you're trying to understand why I said what I said. Yeah, but you've never said what you said. Now you're saying it, and you want them to just like switch this off. And they've been allowed to do it all of these years. And it doesn't take long for kids. You can allow them to do it 1 or 2 times and they're going to repeat it. It takes longer to break the bad habit. than it does to do anything else. So now that you let it go too far, now you want to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to get on that kid's case and you don't understand. You know? How does that work? How's that fair to the kid?
I got a friend, first kid, and I can't give any kid advice because I don't have any kids and people don't respect me. Like,
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
Because everybody that has a kid isn't necessarily a parent. And if both you and I were to walk into somewhere and want to adopt a kid today, they would give me a kid off top. Because it doesn't take birthing a child to be a parent, which is why they will let us be step parents as long as we're contributors, but not if you're contributing to their upbringing, their behavior, and the things that matter. That's a gray area too that I don't like as it relates to kids. Don't tell me because I don't have kids, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
That is so until I have kids, I won't have a heart.
Yeah.
Or morals or values or
Exactly.
love to want to see best for someone. That only activates when I have kids. So I can't love you either. I can only love you from an adult place.
You don't understand love till you have a kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the way it works.
You don't understand.
Oh, okay.
You don't understand.
Well, excuse us.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So anyway, back to what you were saying, is I value your opinion.
It's bullshit. Anyway.
Listen, it's all type of cuss words on the YouTube, on TV. I bet you all of these kids that watch Power. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now we're on a channel that is a youth channel, a mature youth, by the way, because we target high schoolers. We know in high school they have whole families and babies. They're watching Power. Yeah. They could probably tell you about all of those shows that we haven't even seen that we look at and go, oh my gosh, let me turn this. Oh, they know all about it. So, yeah.
Whole families.
Period.
Whole families.
Living in their mama house,
families.
playing grown up, and can't even get a job. So back to what you were saying as an adult.
What was I saying?
You were talking about how kids behave, but...
Oh, yeah, this friend. This friend had his first baby.
Hold on, this is so good, y'all. It's from Juan Pollo. So I'm trying to eat healthier. I got a chicken bowl. They have upgraded the little case and everything.
My only problem with the chicken bowl is it's not mixed up, so I gotta dump it out.
And then mix it. Yeah, notice that's where I'm going over here and then going over here.
That's my only problem. Like, they layer it.
That's
Just
cool.
dump everything in together. But, what's the talking about?
Back to what we were saying, hit the friend with the kid.
Oh, the friend with the kid. So, yeah, his first little girl, he's telling baby mama saying something. He's like, yeah, tell her shut up. Tell her no. Tell her no. Tell her shut up. Tell her this. And he's thinking this is so funny. I'm like,
wait, he's telling the baby to tell the mom this?
Yeah, the baby's
Look, I
like
thought it was bad when I thought you were telling me he was telling the baby mama to tell the kid shut up. I'm like, dang, you don't supposed to say shut up.
1-year-old girl.
I mean, unless you mean shut up.
1-year-old. 1 or 2, whenever they could barely talk, whenever they first start talking.
That's when they start thinking it's cute. Yeah. Oh, while you're developing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's the best time to teach.
Tell her shut up. Tell her no. All this. Boom, boom, boom. I come over there all the time. 2 months later, hey, go do this. No. Shut up. You don't talk to me like that. No, you shut up. Shut up. The baby's telling him to shut up. Now it's not cool no more. Now it's not cute no more.
Now he's embarrassed.
Yeah. Oh, but I couldn't say nothing because I don't have no kids. You shouldn't be saying that to her.
So that's not basic rules.
Goodness gracious. That's like day one. You
right.
Man.
Right.
Good grief.
I've told the viewers before that in my household, when I was coming up, we couldn't even say shut up. That was like a bad word in our house, like to tell each other to shut up because we didn't have the authority to say that as a child, to tell somebody to shut up.
Makes sense.
You could tell, if another kid was bothering you, leave me alone, something like that, a kid. But you could not say shut up because you don't have authority as a child like that. And that's just different, like in my household. We couldn't do it. But now, like you said, oh, it's cute. Why would you even want to tell a kid to talk like that? So then, here's my other thing. Okay, so when people say things like, you don't have a kid, or I'll raise my kid however I want to, they're my kids. You're right. They are absolutely yours. You can do whatever you want. Here's the thing. If something were to happen to you today and somebody needs to take those kids, who's going to take them? Because you raised them the way you wanted to, that didn't even make sense in relation to the things that you were teaching them.
Yep.
Not just, they may go to somebody's house who's a vegetarian and they eat meat. Anybody could adapt to just buying the kid meet and implementing that in their household. That's regular stuff. But these kids, yours walk around freely. They don't clean up. They come and go as they please. They cuss in the house. They don't do this, and that's what you've allowed in your home, or you taught them to say shut up to the other parent and disrespect adults, because those are kids. They don't know when to switch that on and off. And that was a great example of how she switched it to her dad. They don't have that in their brain to tell them when to do it.
That's for everybody.
It's for everybody. Anytime something happens that I don't want, I say shut up. Anytime I don't want to do it, I say no. That's what you taught them. But now somebody needs to take over your child. They need to go to preschool. You need a babysitter. You are raising children for the world. I need people to understand that. And maybe we don't understand it because we have sense. Maybe that's it. Maybe we don't understand it because we were raised right. It doesn't matter the mistakes that we made. We weren't taught to make those mistakes. We did it because and here's the thing, we didn't even do them around them. So if we're doing something and there are adults around, we act so perfect. Grades was good. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. I don't care if the lady across the street asked me to do something. I'm going to go and do it out of respect. And then when I'm around my friends, I might cuss. I might do things I wasn't supposed to, but never to disrespect an adult, never to disrespect my parents. Kids are not going to be perfect. They are going to be, a little defiant, but they're not going to be disrespectfully defiant where they will outright do it in your face. Now, you're not my mama. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
I'm talking to you because I'm walking by and you're being disrespectful. You're cussing like I'm not right here. So pay attention. And it's really sad that I've even had to say that, picking up Scarlett from school. I'm the cool TT. I don't even care if you say like hell or shit. Once
in a blue moon.
These kids all out in the middle of what we would call Center Quad. Out in the middle of that area. And when I first walked up, I did look kind of young that day. I didn't have on makeup or anything like that. And to be fair, I drove up, but most of them drive. No!
What the? I don't know why. It was the way you said but. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
I drove up with Skylar to take him to do something. And as I was walking up, it was F you, what the F is that? Like every word possible, right? And so when I walked up, I didn't say anything because I'm thinking, they're kind of, I'm making excuses. They're turned with their back to me. They didn't see me fast enough to correct it, blah, 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 right? But when I'm walking out, they're doing the same thing. So at that point, I said, the least you could do is stop while I'm walking by.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an adult and you are to respect adults. That is not okay. And nobody, not even a grown-up, uses that many cuss words. That goes to show you don't even know how to use them yet. Because I haven't heard one regular word yet. And respectfully, they just said, okay. But they didn't even know how to respond and say, yes, ma'am, I apologize. Just, okay. But in today's society, with the way that children are, I had to respect the fact that they still just said, okay, instead of cussing me out.
Yeah, there you go.
You know?
Take your wins.
I did.
Yep.
And that's where the flexibility on the adult part comes. But I'm not going to have so much flexibility that I allow that with people around me that I love. I'm going to correct in love. So even if your parent allows you to behave this way, I'm not. And I don't want you to do it in front of me because now that becomes disrespectful to me. And that's what's not okay. So I will teach you how to act around me. And hopefully it will translate into the world, because how are you going to keep a job if you're acting like that?
Yeah.
How are you going to... Could you walk up to somebody's house to take them on a date and the first of all, walk up, because I don't think that happens very much anymore. But you go to sit down and meet the parents. How are you going to have a conversation? A lot of parents still value morals and things like that. And if you're in their kid's life, they may be parents that say, my kid can't go out with you if you don't know how to act. And so, again, that just brings it back to, yes, this is the vessel that God has entrusted you to raise. God has entrusted you to raise. So you have a responsibility to do certain things, and it's not just your child. It is your child that you are sending into the world. Why would you want to set them up in such a way that they could be victims, that they could be not respected, that they could be hurt, not taken seriously, not be successful in the world? There are plenty of situations when I'm at work, and the first thing that comes to my mind is the F-bomb. In my own space, that is my favorite cuss word. And it cracks me up. But I understand that cracks me up in my own space. Other people don't understand that, and it would be disrespectful to them. I don't use it in those spaces because it's not appropriate. At least teach your kids what's appropriate and what's not.
I mean, I try not to. I try to be respectful. I'm a trainer.
You're on the management team.
I was on the management team, but
that's the same thing. Once you're on the management team, you're held to the same standards as managers. They didn't tell you that?
Well, I accept that.
Do we need to have a separate conversation?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Are they going to sue my friend? I need to let you know what your responsibilities.
Well,
that's a separate conversation.
It's just,
yeah.
It's the first.
So you're held accountable to, once you have an authoritative position over other people, your behaviors have to change, your standards change, and those type of things. But in being a trainer in his world, you want to tell him?
I forgot what I was talking about.
No, you're a trainer, but what space do you work in? Remind them where you work. So I'm HR in corporate, which is why the way I talk is one way, and then the standards for you are a little
that's
different.
What we was talking about. Yeah, I was about to cuss right now. I work at a psych hospital.
Yeah. Right. Cussing at anyone, but similar to when you stump your foot, everybody knows what happens when you stump your pinky toe on the edge of your bed. Good things don't come out your mouth.
Sometimes, I'm talking to the patients, counseling them, and
So part of your job in the psych world, and I believe that anybody that is listening that's in the psych world is probably going, yep, that's right, Whereas in my world, the environment is just completely different. So if I'm upset, I'll just say things like, I'll need a moment. And that's all I say. But I trained myself to say those different things. Mm-hmm. So again, it still ties back to knowing when and where is appropriate. Even if it's not quote unquote appropriate, what's that gray area? But an adult can do that. And that 1-year-old.
Yeah, no, it's
that
not.
5-year-old.
Can't do that.
That 16-year-old that's now out of control because you started them at 1, teaching them those things. They cannot decipher between the two. That little girl that's wearing those shorts may not understand everything that goes along with wearing those shorts because she's a child, and that's why God entrusted parents to guide their kids. So the parent can say, you can't wear these, and here's the reason why.
Yeah, they got to be mindful of age and respectful of the age differences, even at every level. Just like what we're talking about. I might let F-bombs fly at work, but if I'm in the grocery store somewhere,
right, and
there is somebody my age, could be a couple years younger or anything older than me, I'm not going to let them fly. Like if it was my boss or something, I have that respect. I turn my radio down when I'm in traffic. Mm-hmm. If an older lady or older person couple pulls up next to me, and I'm.
Me too.
My ambitions as a rider.
Right, especially. I'll cut it down real quick. Look and turn around like.
Yeah, different levels of respect, how you were brought up.
It's all about how you were brought up, but it goes back to the accountability of parenting. Mm-hmm. It's the accountability of parenting, and then the village that is around that child also.
Absolutely.
Because you see some parents that are very cut and dry and very well behaved, if you will, and all the morals and values, but their aunts, uncles, grandma, the people that watch them every day don't behave that way. And so then they pick up those behaviors, and the parent has to kind of pull that in and circle back with the kid. Yes, this is what you see, but this is not what you can do. You have to still acknowledge all the different things.
And there's some people that this is what they see, or, the kid is seeing something positive, but they're leaning the other way. But the parent, and I'm going from personal experience, this is actually something that came up the week before last. A longtime friend. The parent felt like he wasn't the best role model for his son. So he's having trouble cracking down on his son because he felt like he wasn't the best role model, even though he's doing good now. He feels he has a hard time cracking down on his son because he felt like, so who am I to tell him? He was messing up. Well, who am I to tell him? I'm like, you're his dad,
right?
And we were son since he was born,
right?
And I went hard on him, and I told the homie, he was like, "Thank you, man. Thank you for doing that." There's
never a point where you can't correct. I have known people, and it's very true. We come from a very diverse neighborhood, background, families. I have known people that have had parents that were on drugs and raised some of the most amazing kids because that was an addiction for them and something that they on their day-to-day didn't even like, but it was an addiction. And so when they would speak to their kids, they would let them know, please don't do what I'm doing. I don't like this. I really wish that I could do better. This has a control over me. I want more for you. If I could have had my perfect life, and realistically, I know somebody is saying, but you still can. Stick with the story. If I would have had my perfect life, this is what I would want. Take advantage of your opportunities. Yes, I am not there the way that I should be, but know that I love you and I know that you're okay because you're with my mom. Take the values that we are all teaching you and don't take the bad stuff. Take the bad stuff and put it in a box of things you never want to do. And so for your friend, because they didn't do it like they wanted to all of that time, they're never going to stop being that parent. So if your way to talk to them is to talk to them now as a grown man, I'm talking to you man to man now. I'm not talking to you as my kid because you're not my kid. Mm-hmm. You're my grown man. So what I want to tell you is right here today, all of the things that I did until I got right here today are things that I wish that I never did. Have your fun, but do it this way. Mm-hmm. Enjoy yourself, but do it this way. Don't make the same mistakes that I made. That is not what I want for you. It's not even an option. I am going to be disappointed in you. You will have let me down because you know better. I didn't know better. It's nothing wrong with enforcing authority as a parent, no matter where you are. Mm-hmm. You're still the parent. And if you want the best for your kids, you just have to determine how you communicate it to them. On the reverse, I've seen people like my dad. First of all, I'm a good kid. I was a good kid. Let's just throw that out there. But he was one of those people that would only come around and want to discipline. Mm. Oh, I heard she did this. First of all, I heard, so you weren't there. You do have to respect your kids. Kids are people. Mm-hmm. And if you respect them, they won't be defensive. You have to respect them. If you don't respect them, where are they going to learn what respect should look like towards them? Right? So if you hear something or you want to discipline, you still don't come at them like they are nobody. You don't come at them like, do as I say and it doesn't matter what's X, Y, and Z. That's the wrong approach. I don't really care who it is or what position. That is the wrong approach if you are trying to get through to a kid. Everything is based on the kid and you because they have personalities too. Learn what works for your kids and talk to them the right way. If it gets to a point where you get frustrated or something, then stop. Just stop. That's just reality. Stop. Start paying attention more. That's just period for me. Everything that we've talked about, you need to pay attention more and you need to implement more things that are basic values and morals and behaviors that kids, grown-ups, we're going to need throughout our entire lives.
You need to look into yourself. Look into yourself. Mm-hmm. Something you just said just reminded me of my mom. She gets so mad, okay, like how my room looks, or, and that's not how her stuff looks, but she's always like, you need to throw all this stuff away. You're not using this. When was the last time you used this? You need to throw this away. You need to throw this out. Mm-hmm. She moved out of here 5 years ago. We have an ice cream maker in the garage that she got from a yard sale like 20 years ago. Has not touched that ice cream maker once. No intentions on using that ice cream maker. She's never going to use it. But she's not throwing that out. But I got to throw away something I used 6 months ago. You're not going to use that. You need to throw all this crap out, blah, blah, blah. why can't you throw out this ice cream maker? And she's getting mad at me because of my behaviors, and I'm like, this is all learned behavior. Look at you.
Right.
You're bringing in trash, and then you refuse to throw anything away. And then when I'm the same way, look what I was taught my whole life. It was drilled into me. Right. Yard sales. Let's go pick up somebody else's trash. Let's go. Keep it for a year, throw it out, or just keep it for like 8 years and never use it. So it's learned behavior.
It is.
It's learned behavior. You can't be mad.
You can't. And
oh no, that was a rant. I'm sorry. You needed to
get that off.
I did. I really did. You know what I'm saying? I feel a lot better.
And that's okay.
I feel better.
It's okay. So we are going to wrap that session up with parents start being more thoughtful in the things that you are teaching your kids and what you are letting them do, because yes, they are yours. They are all yours until they need to go with someone else, meaning into the world, meaning into a marriage, meaning into a relationship, meaning into the babysitter's home. Raise your children in a way that they at least have the foundation to do the right things and pick up the right behaviors as much as they can. And then if you've noticed that something didn't work out, or like in the example with the garage sale and the ice cream maker, give your kid enough time to implement the changes that it took you a while to realize. And once you realize them, you're sharing them with your adult kids or whatever. And then if you have made a mistake to this point and you are a child that you can think about, dang, my mom does keep telling me to do this, but she's always let me do it. Your parent, your mom or dad, I say mom a lot because I have a mom. Your parents are simply trying to get you to do better. And so don't be disrespectful to your parents. That's never going to be okay. But talk to them and talk to each other so you can understand where you are coming from and where those changes are coming from. I'm guessing he's raising his hand to talk. Should I ignore him? Okay.
This is just me because I was gonna ask if you wanted to segue right into the next one, or how you want to do it, because you said the parents are always trying to get you to do better or whatever, but that directly relates to one of our topics.
It does.
It does. So we could flip that and go right into it, or we could stop and whatever. But that's why I raised my hand, because the parents are not always trying to get you to do better.
They're not.
They're not.
But when we talk, we try to talk positive, but we always are going to circle back to that piece, and that is going to be in our very next segment. So this one is done, and if you like, you can, if this is years and years from now, after we are on a yacht while you are watching this, then you can just click next. If not, and you are very present, being my support base, and I absolutely adore you, then you gotta wait until tomorrow. Either way, we're headed over. Have a good day.
Bear down.
Peace.
I don't know why I said that.
I don't know either.